Hi everyone. I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to use tablets and just the capacities of Photoshop. So I'm going to kind of show you the process for a file that I just created, and I'm going to continue add to it in the way that I was before. So I had this idea of doing a kind of a graphic illustration for a book cover for The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder, because I wanted to do something with like footprints in the snow. So I thought I want to be consistent, and I started out with, I just looked at some example images of footprints in the snow and the colors that I would need. Then I chose a brush that I pretty much used for everything in the picture, which is under dry media brushes. So if you just go down a little ways, and Kyle's Ultimate Pastel Palooza. It's a really nice brush, has a lot of texture. And then I created a background layer that was very, very light blue-gray. I wanted it to be textured, which you may not be able to see on this screen, but I started out with just a flat bluish gray color. Then I went to a brush that I had made, this round print texture brush. I just made it from one of those roll ink designs, I believe, which I have some more here. I might try that actually. And I built up some texture, flat texture on the surface by, let me get on here. That one's going to probably be too defined on the edges. So I'll go back to the one I was using. I made this rolled print, round print texture. Yeah, it's really not very defined looking. You can kind of tell. I'm going to make it much larger. And I'm just kind of scattering it around here in this kind of a gray color, making a vignette, so meaning it's darker on the edges and lighter in the center. So I did some dark, and now I'm going to add a little light on top. I just do this. I do light on dark on light on dark, and it builds up a more natural looking, almost like pastel surface. You can just try it. I'll do one really dark so you can see it. I don't want to keep that, but that's the kind of texture we're going for. Okay. The next thing I did was I went back to that Kyle's Ultimate Pastel and got one color here. So I'm going to select this. That's the color I chose. And I started building these footprints. So you're seeing kind of a finished, semi-finished. But I noticed when I looked at photos of footprints that they're dark blue, they're kind of a dark blue-gray, but then they're kind of ringed with white. So you can see this nice texture and building up with this. I really like it. Just so, I want more of the, okay. I want to have more flow on here. I'm pushing that up a little bit. Now, so I put white around it. So the background is not white. It's close to white, but it's dark enough that the areas around the pushed up snow looks like it's really highlighted, as it does in reality. So on this layer, make sure I get on it. We need to keep adding some more of that white. Just building it up a bit. All right. Yeah. It's probably a little bit hard to see, but so I wanted to have something look like kind of ominous. So I built these trees. The same brush. I'm using the same brush for everything because it's got that sort of a chalky look. You can see different layers, which I should label trees. I kept the trees and the shadows on the same layer, which maybe it wasn't okay. It was okay because it's a simple image. Normally I would separate those a little bit. So I'm just still building these a bit so they're more even. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you can see it just has this, I'll zoom in, this really natural look about it. I really like that. Seems like that is on a different layer, maybe. Oh, huh. So I didn't keep very good track of things here. That is on a different layer. So here we go. Now I want the shadow to be behind the tree. Okay, now that I'm closer in, I can really see where I want more of that highlighted snow look to be, kind of along the trunk. Then I also made a kind of a highlight side of the tree using the same brush, but kind of a lighter gray. I'm going to go in there a little bit more, try to make it go all the way to the bottom. Keeping that rough look. Control Z to zoom out. Now I feel like the composition is starting to look more complete. Then I added text for the words. Long Winter. I just did Josephine Sands, and I increased the kerning. This is kerning where you space everything. I wanted it to be spaced out like it was, you know, long, stretching out to fit the idea. But a simple kind of modern font, which I like. And then there's the words of the excuse me, the author's name below, smaller, on a whole different text box. So which I might move up a little bit, but I want it in line. You see, I want it in line with the title, so it just has a nice graphic look. So I might add one other thing. I had like an ominous little shadow figure right there. That's not in the book. So I was playing around. This might be like the Long Winter with monsters, but it doesn't quite fit, even though I kind of like it. So I'm gonna leave it out. Anyway, I want us to be making book covers. You can make alternate book covers, maybe one of your favorite books, like I love this book, or you could just make up a book, but to draw a design that is based on one of the designs you did with your poster, but isn't a recreation of it, but more a drawing from it. So we'll be doing a few different experiments with those posters, but choosing one, you don't have to keep it the same, but using it as kind of your starting point. So excited to see what you guys come up with.